Back for Jefferson. Will launch a three for the win. And he made it!
A chance for Iowa State to take the lead. And they do.
Blows right by him and stuffs it with the right hand. Hello.
The lob.
At the end of the day, we all know it's a Cyclone.
All right. Welcome back. Wow. A win's a win, I guess. We're doing a little instant reaction pod tonight. Iowa State beats Iowa 66-62. A game in which there are many themes to discuss. The first thing that comes to my mind is mean regression. But we'll get into it. Joined alongside, as always, by Nate Schuster and Tom Turner. Fellas, not our favorite watch that we'll probably have over the course of the year, but anytime you can score more points than the other team and the clock hits zeros, I think it's a success. Thoughts, reactions, feelings, dreams, hopes?
Very stressful game. I was wrong. I thought two different times. Once that we were going to lose in the first half, and then in the second half when I got up to 8, I thought we were going to win by 10 plus. Fine to be wrong on both those accounts. A win is a win. Now we don't have a real game till January 2nd, or late December, early January. So I'm good with the win.
It felt like if we would have got a few more nice rolls on the home rims, we would have probably won this game by 12 to 16 points. It felt like we had like 7 or 8 layups, and that's what caused us all the stress. Was we're watching these balls just sit on the rim and then fall off, just lackluster. And that probably helped, but I wasn't too worried. Even once we started clawing back in the second half and tied it, and Toure had that dunk to kind of get us back in the game, I wasn't too worried from there.
Yeah, so really, this game story can be told as a tale of thirds, right? And they're not even in terms of minutes, but your first third was the first half, right, where Iowa shot, 14 of 22 in the first half compared to Iowa State's 10 of 30. Shot 5 of 7 from 3 compared to Iowa State's 2 of 10, and genuinely looks comfortable for the most part throughout most of the first half. I think the most surprising thing to me really was that Iowa State's defense, I thought, played okay in the first half. They were forcing turnovers pretty regularly. In fact, forced 10 in the first half, which in any other game you would say, awesome, that's a recipe for success. The issue is that Iowa State only had 10 points off those turnovers. So Iowa State, I don't think, did a great job of capitalizing on some of the mistakes that Iowa made in the first half. And then on the other end, Iowa, of course, just shot the shit out of the ball, so to speak, right? Like sometimes it's your night. But if you would have told me at the end of the first half that you would expect some kind of regression, you would be correct, because that's pretty much exactly what happened.
Yeah, especially in college, like you see a team that shoots that hot, what is that, like 64%?
Yep.
Yeah, they're gonna cool off, especially against a defense that's number 2 in KenPom.
I thought it was very worrisome when they were shooting that good. The part that concerned me the most was, are they going to be able to maintain this 12, 15-point lead? Because they play so slow. Once you're down, every shot is times 2, times 3. It's so important. Every possession too, even just to get a clean look. Luckily, second half, into the first half, we finished strong. But start of the second half, we sped them up. I love the pressure on out-of-bounds plays where we didn't let them walk up the ball. We made them run a little bit, caused them to move a little quicker. Obviously, we got some live ball turnovers, which are always helpful. But I was kind of surprised Iowa wasn't able to hold that lead a little bit longer. Like we quickly tied it up in the second half. I was very surprised they weren't able to hold it. Obviously, we made them play faster, but I was like, with how good of a coach McCollum is, he did burn 2 timeouts very early, which cost him here late in the game. It was very interesting that the lead was gone just like that.
Yeah, so in thinking about how the game really progressed, right, you've got that first half. And then you've got the first portion of the second half, right? That middle part towards the beginning of the second half, where Iowa State goes on like a 15-0 run essentially to start the second half. It stretches the lead to I think almost 9 or 10 at one point. At that point, like Tom said, I was feeling extremely comfortable. I thought offensively they had no answer for Joshua Jefferson, which was super encouraging to see. You could see at times that he was like, whoever they put in front of me is just simply not big enough to guard me. And you could see him at times like calling for the ball. Everything needed to run through him, which was great because in the first half, he was the only one that looked like he belonged out there for Iowa State, right? Like offensively, it was not a good showing, but I will say Iowa deserves credit defensively because I think they did a really nice job of staying connected. I don't feel like they ever got out of sorts. I also don't think Iowa State offensively really made them work as much for it as they should have, right? Like you never got the swing, open look, paint touch into a corner three like Iowa State's offense has been doing the last few weeks. In the second half, you saw a little bit of that, but you had to get going for a little while.
Yeah, that first half, to your point, was a lot of dribble, one-on-one ISO ball, and that played right into Iowa's hands when they're playing connected like that. To me, it was a really different Iowa team than what we've seen in past years. I mean, just looking at them physically, they looked a lot larger than Iowa teams have in past years. I feel like they've been playing more to speed under the McCaffrey years, and this team looks like they're a little bit more physical. I think that's probably good as a tune-up. Well, these are still tune-up games. It's non-conference because we're really here to play Big 12 games at the end of the day. So, but no, that's a good win. That's a good Iowa team. There's a reason they're 8-2, and they only lost to us by 4 points. Like that'll be a good, I think, at least middle of the pack in the Big Ten. I think that's a reasonable expectation for them. That's a good team.
The spot was important too. It's going to be a quad one win, you would think, for the entire season. But it was a letdown spot regardless. You're coming off the huge win at Purdue. You basically have almost a full week off, and you come off shooting these amazing 2 games against Alcorn State and Purdue. Obviously, the regression was going to happen. It was a tough spot also being against a rival. So I do give the team a little break, but it was still like the first half. You can't have Toure shooting a 3 like that quickly. The Milan chuck from almost half court. Like those 2 shots in like a Sweet 16 game are going to be unacceptable, especially if you're facing a team that their second and third guys can get buckets. Like that was the whole point of Stirtz. Let's not get him 30 a game. We have to slow him down. We did. I think he had 10 points on 11 shots. He was sitting in the corner a ton. He only had 3 turnovers, but he was passing up a lot. He was creating open shots for other guys, but he wasn't scoring 30. And that was the game plan. And it worked because we won and he didn't have 30. So I'll take it. The spot was obviously tough, but moving forward, I think you can't rely on the Hilton crowd. You can't rely on that second half, live ball turnovers. You got to play better in the first half.
I like your point about Stirtz. I think he's exactly who we thought he was, which is a very, very good player that struggled against some uber athletic guards. Like I thought Braden Smith looked and felt better than he did on Saturday versus what Stirtz was doing tonight. Obviously, 2 different play styles, 2 different players, but they get mentioned a lot in the same breath. So I thought that it was interesting. Braden Smith still had 6 turnovers. Don't get me wrong. Like it wasn't like he had a walk in the park en route to getting beaten by a zillion. But Stirtz, I think his shot making is incredible. Like the number of bailouts that he provides for them, I think on 3 different occasions that he just pulls something out of his ass and is like, no problem, I got it. And then it happens. But then when you look at the stat line, you go, did he really do that much when you shoot 3 of 11? Like it's really interesting because he seems like he impacts the game more than maybe he actually did. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, you have those 3 really deep threes, and then you split a free throw. Like that's all it was. But no, I think he's a really good player. I think he'd look a lot better if he had a better supporting cast. Like if he was on Purdue, he'd probably look a little bit better than Braden Smith, maybe even. So, because I mean, you got those 2 crazy good bigs, and I mean that helps. I liked how we flowed together. I thought Buchanan played a really great game tonight. I think that was really what won us the game was his defensive effort and his energy. That loose ball at the end saving us for the timeout under 4 minutes. And we still had the possession arrow in our back pocket. So he's been a really good addition to the team. There's really nothing negative to say about him. Like, just a fantastic find. And yeah, after playing Clough earlier this year, like, wow, like we fell into gold, didn't we?
I think it showed how important he was to the team when he got injured in the second half, because everybody's reaction was, oh, this is not good. Plata obviously being out affects it a little more, but the way he works on the glass defensively, I don't even know how many blocks he had, but he was so effective defending at the rim. He had 4 blocks. That's just like, he's so efficient down there. Great passer. He had the pass to Heise and then the pass to Taman late in the game. Those are huge passes. I could see Robert Jones, senior year Robert Jones, doing that, but like Deshaun Jackson, Chatfield, Hassan Ward, those guys aren't making that pass. So that was quite impressive. And just a test for you guys, how many turnovers do you think Jefferson had in this game?
I just looked, so I can't answer.
Nate?
In
the first half, it was not great.
If I would have guessed, I would have said like 4, but I just saw 3.
Yeah. 3 seems – he had 3 in the first half.
Yeah, his first half was he got his pocket picked, I think, twice just from guys not yelling wolf, right? Like that.
Yeah, and it's a tough spot because
that was frustrating.
You have to be smart.
That was
you
really
have to be smart with the ball on a fast break. You have to know on a fast break, people are obviously attracted to the ball. You have to be self-aware of what's going on. But at the same time, it's not really his fault. You have a loud environment. He is looking for the open passer. People got to yell wolf. It's just a tough spot to be in. It's like it can go both ways, but the fact that the workload he got in the second half and he didn't have a single turnover is quite impressive, especially with all the ball handling he was doing. Like, he gets shit on a couple times for his ball handling, which is dribbles very high, very often. But 0 turnovers in the second half with that workload, shout out Jefferson.
I'm going to be interested to see what his offensive rating is if KenPom gets updated here in a second. Especially his usage rate, like everything ran through him. He took a lot of shots. He had a few turnovers. Okay, here we go. 118 offensive rating. Okay, here you go. This is a good guess for you. Who had the highest offensive rating on Iowa State?
And it's not Jefferson.
It's not Jefferson.
Is it Blake?
Hi, Nate, you guess.
I would guess it's either Buchanan or Milan.
Yeah, Buchanan 173. So you're talking about impact.
What's his defensive rating? Because he had 4 blocks and 3 steals.
It doesn't say.
Oh,
He's so good. He's so good.
That's incredible. Yeah, playing 31 minutes.
7 stocks.
Yeah, he was great. And Jefferson had 33% of possessions. I mean, that's so high.
Some of those threes Jefferson hit, like the improvement, the offseason for these guys, Milan the second half, he was unplayable. The last 4 minutes in the first half, he did not play. He was simply unplayable. Iowa played him off the floor. Shout out that. Like, say something nice about Iowa. You were able to find the mismatch, and you went at him, and you forced our best shooter to not play a certain amount of minutes there in the first half. He came on strong the second half. I loved him attacking. He needed to. Otherwise, he wasn't going to play. And then, Jefferson too. Unbelievable. The workouts in the offseason, the shooting. I mean, these guys have improved so much. You just love to see it.
Milan, seeing them pick on Milan reminded me a lot of just how the NBA operates as a whole. Like, that's what it reminded me of, because every single possession they just pick on someone.
And I think it was a little bit different too, because he can hold his own for like 10 seconds. But the fact that you have to play a strict 30, that's going to take a wear on guys, and it takes a wear on a guy like Milan.
I would love to hear that. Nate, do you remember ever playing against anyone that ran as slow of pace as Iowa did when you were playing? Like, is there someone that comes to mind that you're like, God, they just play so slow? I'm curious, like, what the conversations are like around something like that.
I mean, you're trying to speed them up. Like how we blitz ball screens right now is how we would have done it. I'm thinking like when we were playing, we scrimmaged Wisconsin a couple times when they had Ethan Happ, and that was a really slow offense. Brad Davison that was when he was like the worst 2-point shooter in college basketball. I don't know if you guys remember, like he was like the last player. But they it's really blitz and ball screens, and you got to really be connected because the possession counts are going to be low. So that means you have to get stops in those possessions. I think TCU was one. We lost them twice the year we had won the Big 12. They played a really slow style with Alex Robinson, and they had a couple other good players that year. But that was it was few and far between, I guess. But yeah, rebounding is really vital. I think we did a pretty good job on the glass. We ended up losing, but 28 rebounds. But I mean, we got a lot of O boards, at least in the first half, because we were shooting a lot by the rim and they were just rolling off. But I mean, I thought we did the best with what we could with how, I mean, you can do all you want. I mean, we held them to 33 points and 29 points. Like, I think you should aim to give up around 60-ish points. If you give that and you can't score more than that, that's really on your offense to me.
Yeah, there are 62 possessions. This will be I would wager this is the lowest possession game we play all year. And the reason I say that is because Houston is obviously the game that comes to mind. There's no one else that's probably going to come super close to that. They're more chaotic in the stuff that they do on defense, so they find a way to speed things up that way. Iowa does the same. It's the same principle on offense without the defensive, like, in-your-face stuff. So it feels a little bit more controlled when our guys have the ball. I don't know if we're going to see anything close to that. We ended with just over 1 point possession, by the way. So, I mean, it didn't even end up being as bad as it felt. I don't know what the first half looked like for points per possession, but that was not great.
Yeah, I bet that over one really took hold, like in that early second half row where we went 15-0.
So 0.8 in the first half, 1.5 in the second points per possession. Yeah. So there you go. There's the story of the game right there. And then it's an interesting box score. I just feel like you saw this game do a very clear, like I said, first act, second act, third act. The scariest part about the end of this game was that I was weirdly comfortable the entire time when there's no reason that any of us should have. Like, you almost got lulled into a sense of security because of the way that Iowa plays. And that's a credit to them because they're just like, we're fine with hanging around. Like, if we are within a possession or two, under 2 minutes, like, we're exactly where we want to be. It's like, I had all the faith in the world that if they found a way to get up to one possession with 30 seconds left on the clock, like, they were going to get fouled or something was going to happen.
That's what I was worried about too. Stirtz is a closer. You got to keep it a 5-point game. Like, you have to make them rely on getting a stop because late in the game they couldn't get a stop. They continued to foul. We got lucky with a call here or there, but there's a lot where they weren't in legal guarding positions. They're going after Jefferson. We put their guys in tough spots where they had to foul, and it was just like you had to be in that 5-point range because if you're down 2 and Iowa's got the ball with Stirtz and they're just wasting down that clock, like, that's not where you want to be in that situation.
What do you guys think of the officiating?
I thought Doug had kind of a rough night in the first half.
The mystery whistle?
Yeah, there was.
That was weird.
It was. I mean, I thought both ways it was kind of strange because, I mean, Iowa didn't shoot a free throw for like the first 30 minutes of the game either. So, and I know how we play defense. We probably fouled them a few times in the first half on a shot, and vice versa. I mean, there was a few times where we're getting just clobbered and there's nothing, and the next time down there's a brush foul on a screen. Like, the consistency I thought was a little off, but it's a rivalry game. It's going to be weird. So
I was okay with most of it. Towards the end, it looked like it leaned Iowa State's a little way more because we were the ones initiating contact on drives. Iowa was going for back cuts and jump shots. Like, you're just going to see more calls made like that. But still, I was fine if they were going to call it like that because I want our guards to have the ability to be rough with Stirtz, which they were. Toure and Heise, they roughed them up a bit. There wasn't like a crazy amount of like missed calls at all, but like you were able to put one hand on them. It's an auto foul when you put two, but you were able to put one. You were able to kind of bull your way through screens a little bit. Milan did that a couple times. I was fine with that. It was a little weird towards the end, but yeah, rivalry game, like it's going to happen.
Did you think that the last Jefferson foul was a foul? The one that he was fouled on.
Yeah, I mean, his guy wasn't in legal guarding position at all. He's just backtracking. I think that unless you get all ball, I think it's going to be called. And those guys, I like those officials because those officials, they are very good at like sticking to their own way. They're not going to be like talked down to quick. Like you watched the women's game yesterday. It felt like when either coach had a talk with the official, a call was quickly made. This game, I like these officials. Sermons is my guy. I really like him. Because I think they hold their own. Like, they're not going to be talked to by another coach. Like, they know what the sport is. So yeah, I was okay with it. Wins win.
I did find Buchanan's defensive rating, which was far and away the tops for Iowa State, 91.8. The next closest was Lipsy at 104. So, like, talking about if you're looking for a number that represents impact, that's the points per possession when he's on the floor, Buchanan. That's essentially. So awesome to see that. He's too important to this team. And Tom, if you really want to talk about Mulder, we can. His missed dunk. My first thought was, if that's Buchanan, that's and one. Like that's a slam and a free throw.
It is. I think he got too. He's got too long of a wingspan. You got to go like this. Like, come on. But I mean, I thought he played okay. He's bad on switches. He's like 3 steps behind when a normal person. I would be like a step and a half behind. Mulder's like 3. But he was okay with rebounding. He's battling his best. Plata, I hope he's okay. They said it was an ankle injury why he didn't suit up. We have some like minor league opponents, so we should be good for a little bit. So hopefully he gets rested up.
Nate, what do you think that we learned about either team? Like, do you think that we know more about Iowa State now? Like, does this change your opinion on how the season goes? Same thing for Iowa.
I think it's an example of a way that we can win a game. That was a little gritty towards the end. We kind of see who our closers are. I think, what do we finish with there? We finished with Lipsy, Toure, Jefferson, Buchanan, and I think Heise, Milan. Now, I think that there's potential that could change based on opponent. I thought Heise played a good game, even though he's 1 for 5. But I mean, it was nice to see over, and we have multiple options that could take over a game. But other than that, we learned that it's still a Cyclone state after a kind of heart attack game.
Nice, George. Tom, same question to you.
I think we learned that the guards need to maybe do some more cardio, because it seemed like how hard they worked defensively, it affected their offensive game. Lipsy, shot 15 shots and had 14 points. Toure was like 2 of 6 from the field, and I swear he had 4 of his attempts in like the first 8 minutes of the game. And then obviously he had a couple breakaways with steals, but and then Heise over 3 from deep, and a lot of them were open looks. And then Bateman, who I thought was really good on the defensive end, him and Nelson really didn't get a lot of shot attempts up. These guys, I mean, I'm big on, I love playing every play style you can before you get to the NCAA tournament. We did that. Like, if we face a slow-paced team, we're ready for that. We've seen that. We know how to improve. We know what to work on. We know what to watch out for. This, I don't I don't know if it's because of the way they were guarding Stirtz. You're working extra hard to make sure he doesn't even get the ball, nevertheless shoot it. But Toure, not a lot of shot attempts. Taman, not that efficient. You really don't see that from him that often. But hey, I mean, it worked in the fact that Milan understood for him to be on the floor, he had to attack, and Jefferson had takeover mode late in the game while also not turning the ball over. So it ended up working out. But the point to focus on is those guys got to be better on both sides of the floor, and it's such a hard ask to play that efficient on both ends. I know that, but I think if you want to be a championship level team, you have to do so. So.
I think if it was easy, everyone would do it, right? Like there's nothing easy about the way that Iowa State and Houston play defense.
Because I'll throw a quick example, like Florida's national title team last year. Thomas Howell, Condon, their other two posts down low.
Cheney Lou.
Yeah, they had to work so hard on the defensive end to rebound against Auburn with Broom, and then also against Houston and their bigs and Tugler. Like, they had to work so hard on the defensive end just to rebound. And then those guys had to make big shots down to – now, obviously, they had their guards as well. But they had to work so hard on both ends. And that's kind of how I see our guards. If we want to be in a Final Four and a national championship, we got to play 40 minutes of just stellar basketball on both ends. And that's a tough ask. But guess what? National championships are tough to get. So you kind of got to do it if you want to win.
I think I came away impressed with Iowa. I think that if you had to corner one of their fans, I think they would tell you that they're well ahead of schedule. Right? Like, this is a team that was 11-point dogs or whatever, lost by 4, potentially had a chance to go and take the lead at one point with less than 4 minutes to go. Like, massive, major win. Because, like, if you're an Iowa fan, like, that's house money going into Hilton and doing this. Like, I would be ecstatic. Like, obviously, it sucks for them to lose it. No, it doesn't suck. It's great. But, like, you know what I mean? Like, I would be – if the shoe was on the other foot, I'd be like, awesome. We were supposed to lose by a lot. We barely lost. Like, awesome. Let's go.
On the road.
Bring on Big Ten. Yeah, honestly, like, neutral site – you played even, right? Like, if you're taking in 3 points for Hilton or whatever, like, that's it.
Yeah, no, I kind of agree with you. I was pretty impressed with the turnaround the entire program's made in 12 months. Like, that's a team that, the rivalry is really back now. Like, it's going to get close. Like, when he becomes more successful and gets his feet really wet, that program, these CyHawk rivalry games are going to be bloodbaths.
I'm very interested to see a team under his own guys. Obviously, Stirtz is his own, but Stirtz is gone after this year. I'm very interested to see how that offense looks, because they're not playing as slow as they did last year. They're still playing very slow, but it's also because they don't have really a ton of shot makers on there. And if they do have those shot makers like Hausen from Kane State, he's not great on the defensive end.
Didn't play. 4 minutes.
Yeah. And I was kind of surprised by that because of his shooting, just to space the floor a little bit and maybe help out. But I'll say one more quick thing, that watching the Michigan State game, watching this game, it was clear that Michigan State's defense just works way better against Iowa than ours. They play a same intensity, but they don't trap as quickly or as hard. So rotations are much more easier to maintain, especially when Fears is face guarding Stirtz. For us, we have 4 guys to make 5 rotations, because Toure or Heise was face guarding Stirtz the entire game. And then all of a sudden, you're trying to jump a passing lane or you're trying to rotate. You have one less guy to make that extra step. I think that's why we saw a lot more open threes from Banks. We saw some back cuts. We're just like a step off, but that's going to happen. And I think, if we play them again, totally okay with how we played. We missed some bunnies. Obviously, they shot well in the first half and we didn't. But Stirtz, 11 shots, 10 points. I'll take that any day.
I thought it was interesting, too. Like, coming out of half, it almost felt like, hey, all right, you got that out of your system? Like, great. Like, here's how it's going to go. Like, you're going to be in a stance for 30 seconds every single time they have the ball. Like, we're there. Like, this is it. Like, this is what you get. This is what you sign up for. And on offense, like, they are making us work for everything, and they're staying connected. Like, we have got to do a better job of moving the ball. Like, I don't think the messaging going into the second half felt weird or strange to me. Like, it seemed clear, like, hey, we need to be better at doing the small things and being invested in the details. It wasn't like hey, we got to shoot more threes, or hey, we need to rebound the ball better. Like, no, like, it was strap in, like, this is how it's going to go. Like, you got to be prepared and you got to be ready. And I thought that the first part of the second half was like a shrug of like, all right, we're done with all that. This is how the game's going to be played. Also, we've played your style of basketball for 20 minutes. It's our turn to play our style of basketball for the next 10.
Yeah, there was definitely a sense of urgency, I thought, but it was also more of like, let's just play our game. Like, let's just get back to what we're good at. And it seems like, yeah, it's just how they came out. So it was nice to see. Good adjustment.
If you were gonna tell me though, real quick, remember what we talked about in our last podcast? We talked about rebounding. We talked about points in the paint. We talked about what Michigan State did to Iowa and how they dominated on both ends. Iowa State lost both the rebound battle and the points in the paint battle. If you would have told me that, I would have said that we would have lost.
I think the first 3 minutes decided that too, because we missed 3 bunnies like in a row. And I think we missed 5 and like before the under 12 media timeout. And obviously that's going to affect guys. You're going to get nervous a little bit because you're missing these bunnies. And then you got to resort to the threes that we saw from like Milan and Toure, and it wasn't great. Which is still kind of crazy because home rims and like the Mulder layup, how did that not go in? Jefferson off the bat, it just rolled out. Taman had a layup where he just never misses that. Some weird looks. Just
how many layups? I'm looking at how many layups do you think we missed? We had 18. We had 18 attempts.
I thought we missed 7.
We missed 8. We went 10 of 18.
Jeez.
Okay, so 16 points plus probably 4 free throws that we probably should have made too. So that's 20 points. If we win 86-62.
You want me to cut that in half, but yeah.
But Iowa doesn't have a strong defensive big either. Like, that's the problem. They were just missed bunnies.
There's a shot blocker. There was no.
Tom, speaking of this, because I know we've talked about this in the past, right? Speaking of freebies, missed to the free throw line, our guy, God bless him, our French maestro point guard Toure. We got to work on the free throws, pal, because that thing is ugly. Like, his makes, we talked about the makes looking good and the misses looking worse. Like, his makes looked bad.
I'll say this. We had a conversation a couple episodes of we're up by 2, break the press. Who do we want the free throw line? Milan. Guess what? He had 0 attempts at the free throw line. We only missed 6, like 17 to 23. With 23 attempts, 6 misses is okay. The timing wasn't great when you had a chance to build a 6 or 8 point lead late in the game. We didn't do so. It became 3 or 5. But yeah, when our best free throw shooter, Milan, he's not getting to the line, and we got to rely on a tired Jefferson or Toure with that form. Like, I don't know. Like, it's the little things. Like, we got to work on them.
Yeah.
All right, let's play a quick game here.
Yeah, I feel like all 6 free throws were in those last 8 minutes too. It was just.
That's when we started. That's when we started getting downhill and getting 2 feet in the paint, right? Like, that was a noticeable difference. Okay, let's play another game here real quick. Let's play the plus minus game. I'm hoping that neither of you have seen this so far on the box score. Based on everyone that has played, who do you think had the worst plus minus? Keep in mind, this applies to everyone that steps foot on the court. Hint. For the lowest plus minus.
Nelson.
I was going to say Nelson.
Bang!
Really?
Minus 8. Yeah. Not in 3 minutes.
There was one possession he had to open 3 off of a drive, and obviously Nelson not going to shoot it. So instead, he had 2 dribbles, stopped in the middle of the paint, had to restart the possession. So that makes sense.
That was not a game for him, and I would say the same thing about Bateman. Unfortunately, I just little deer on ice at some times, but he'll get better. Heise with a shocking -7. So
Heise was going to be my other guess.
yeah, I think
he was good defensively, but offensive. The guy is a fifth-year senior. He hasn't gotten better at dribbling. What has happened? Like there was a charge, obvious charge. Stirtz, great defense right there. But Heise, my guy, you just dribbled straight into him. Like, what are we doing?
No, it's not his job though, right? Like that's not what you're asking him to do. So I mean,
It's not. But
you can roll your eyes. That's what they're going to say. All right, who had the best plus minus on our team?
Buchanan.
Yeah, it's got to be Buchanan.
Nope, it's Toure. Buchanan was 7, Toure was 13, Lipsy with 11, Jefferson 6, Milan -2, and honestly, that -2 probably should have been worse.
I feel like Jefferson should have been higher.
Well, I mean, he played for 35 minutes, so it's going to be tough to get one way or another.
For Iowa, I think Sage had the highest. He 8 points, 4 rebounds for a true freshman. Now, there was one possession where he had the ball for all 30 seconds and did a fadeaway as the buzzer went off. That was annoying, but he came off very impressive.
Great call. He did have the highest plus minus on our team with 9.
I thought Howard and Sage looked really good for them. And Full Garris. Like their bench was fun. Like
I like
for them to watch. It wasn't fun for me to watch, but
yeah. Defensively, he got in trouble a couple of times. Jefferson's just so overpowering at times, but those guys, I came away with the same opinion. Banks, some of his threes, I don't know how they go in. Like, it's crazy.
Cooper, is it Cook or Cock? -16, either way.
Started off really hot.
Tough. Yeah, he played 25 minutes and he was -16, so
made his first in the first 3 minutes.
Yeah. Go ahead, Tom.
What was Stirtz?
-4. He played 40 minutes. He did not come out. And he could not.
He's just exactly the game.
Yeah. I tweeted it. Iowa's second best player are media timeouts. They are Iowa's second best player.
That's well done. I mean, but I will tell you, their supporting cast was better than we anticipated, right? Like Michigan State box score, we talked about Stirtz, only guy in double figures. No one else was even close. Now, if you do the math here, that does make sense that they scored 50 something and now they scored 62. Like someone else was going to have to be in double figures, but I thought that they were okay. Like the fact that he got this group where I would make an argument, and Stirtz is great. I don't know how many people are going to take Stirtz over Lipsy. If you're watching, such a phenomenal basketball player, potential All-American, and Lipsy's right there with him. With that in mind, individually, the talent level and dispersion between the two teams has never felt wider, and it probably will never be wider. And the fact that McCollum was able to coach them to a 4-point loss is unreal. Like, that's crazy. Like, you watched, their guards were in hell every time they crossed half court. Every single time. It didn't even matter. If Heise was the one guarding someone, he was in his face. Toure and Lipsy, of course, like, they could not do anything. They lost by 4.
Very confident team. You could see that, especially in the first half when things were really going for them. That's why I was so like, if this is a 15-point game or even 12 going into half, I have no idea how we come back because they're just going to play slower and slower. The confidence is going to get higher and higher.
Yeah. No, really, really impressive. I agree with you, Sean. Like, to be this far, this early, like, very impressive. Very impressive.
When they get into the meat of Big Ten play, I am going to be super interested to watch them. I guess that begs the question, do you actually like watching their style? Because I could see it both ways. Like, I didn't mind it because I thought it was smart, right? Like, you're trying to minimize possessions because you maybe don't feel like you're quite as talented as the other team. So you're trying to shrink volume. So I didn't mind watching it because it was such a grinded out. Like I found myself gravitating towards as the game went on, because it was like I appreciated it a little bit more. Like, you're not going to catch me dogging them for going so like they should have. Like, it clearly works. Like, this is not a case of like, I was joking, Dylan in the group chat's like, it's a gimmick. And I'm like, well, Houston does it, so it's not.
Yeah, I think it's by design. I mean, I think it's probably a gap year or a bridge year in their minds of like, hey, let's try to prove ourselves on a national scale. And that, I mean, that's how they're going to win ball games. Like, and they probably will win a lot of ball games playing this way. I mean, they're already 8-2. What do you guys think makes the tournament this year as like the last team in a Power 5 team, Power 5 league? Do you think it's like 18-14?
I think that'd be a little better.
Depends
20
on the
and
wins.
13, something
their
around there.
schedule's not very good. I would say 20 wins.
I mean, if you finish sixth in the Big Ten, that could probably get you in.
They have a
probably.
tough start to the Big Ten play because they're home against UCLA, which I kind of like their matchup because the Bruins also play slow. They're not great at finding their own offense. Then they have at Minnesota, easy win, but then Illinois and then at Purdue, at Indiana. Illinois is an awful matchup for them. Just like Iowa State, like way better talent. They have the length with Illinois is crazy. But like I think UCLA is a great matchup for Iowa. I think Nebraska is a great matchup for Iowa, where they can kind of play to their strengths and take it to them. So, see.
Yeah, the middle. Yeah, they kind of level out, right? They go UCLA, Minnesota, Illinois, Purdue, Indiana to open, and then they kind of level out with Rutgers, USC, Oregon, Washington, Northwestern Maryland. Like, that's when you got to win those 2, 4. You got to win those 5 in a row or 6 in a row. Like, if you're going to be bridging something, because if you're trying to get to 20, they end with Michigan and Nebraska, which Nebraska looks pretty good.
They are a fun team. And Connor Sejan, who was their 6 man, out for the year, and they haven't skipped a beat. They look very good.
Oh, Freddie. You think Freddie was keeping an eye on this one tonight? I'd like to think that he was.
I'd like to think that he checks up every once in a while with the team.
You think Coach Steve was watching this one night?
Well, apparently he called the last Iowa game.
He did?
Yes, I had that on one of my TVs on mute, and it was a jump scare because I did not hear his voice, and all of a sudden I saw him coming out at halftime. Was not ready for that.
Yeah.
Did you get to listen to him for a little bit? How was he?
I kept the game on mute the entire time.
Oh.
No, I didn't want to listen because I was like, maybe he's good, maybe he's really bad.
This isn't Taman's. This isn't Monte's team. It's not George's team. It's our team, and we got to be more together. We got to play harder for longer. We got to make sure that we get Nate Schuster in the game.
I wonder if he takes off his suit jacket in like the first 2 minutes while also calling the game.
Yeah, I like it. That's a callback. Yeah, chapstick. Big Chapstick loves Steve Prohm.
Yeah, he'd be the first spokesperson if he was still coaching.
Yeah, big Chapstick plant in Ames, Iowa for a while there. All right, we've been going for 43 minutes. We're talking about Steve Prohm's chapstick. I think we're probably good to call it quits. I would say final thoughts. This is a rivalry game. There's a lot of weird stuff that's going to happen, right? Like Nate, you've already said it twice, I think. I am not surprised that the game turned wonky. I am surprised in the way that it played out because I think it did flip expectations, right? Like points of pain we talked about, rebounds we talked about. Like it didn't feel like the game was played the way that obviously Iowa State wanted to go. But I don't know if Iowa would say the same thing necessarily aside from the first half. Super interested to see Iowa the rest of the year. I am not interested at all in any of Iowa State's next however many games. We're about to enter into hell, boys. Like content gonna be skinny. We're gonna come up with a couple of different games or something to play along the way. But man, made it through the meat of non-conference without a loss. Right? Like Iowa State will be undefeated going into January with the way that the schedule shakes out. And we just talked about this 2 months ago and said that we would have been happy with 2 to 3 losses at this point in the year. So unequivocal success. Iowa State is still very firmly in the hunt for a national championship, and the analytics would back that up. And that's all you can ask and hope for at this point in the year.
Lenardi's calling us a 1 seed.
This was a big game for the 1 seed. Like if you want to be a 1 seed, you can afford maybe one loss at home.
I wouldn't even say it like 1 seeds. I think like 1 seeds don't lose this game. That's what I would tell. That's what I would tell players if I was a coach. Like, if you want to be 1 seed, you don't lose this game.
That was going to be my thing. Like, my takeaway from this game is if this team is Final Four caliber, you look back on this game, this was one, if not top 2 of your worst games of the season. This can't be top 5. It can't be top 6. If you're that good of a team to make a run in March, this is either your worst game or your second worst game, because there's going to be that trip up in January at Oklahoma State, at K-State, whatever.
At Kansas.
This has to be one of your worst games, which it kind of was. There was a lot of things they could improve on, which they will. But if you're going to be that good, if you're going to be fighting for a natty, this has to be one of your worst games you played.
Okay. I love it. I think well said, right? Iowa State has Eastern Illinois on Sunday, then Long Beach State the following Sunday, and then Houston Christian the following Monday on December 29th. And then we open Big 12 play with West Virginia in Ames on the 2nd. So a little bit of a break, so to speak, mentally for the guys as they get through finals, I think, for this week and next week, and then hopefully get some time off for Christmas. But awesome game. Glad we got to talk it through afterwards. Final score, Iowa State 66, Iowa 62. Thank you, as always, for listening to Offensively Offensive, and we will see you on the next one.